Welcome back to PPMA TV, sponsored by Markham Image. Delighted to be joined from Festo by our friend Steve. Steve, thank you for joining us here. You've got an impressive booth, lots of machinery to show off. What's the story you're looking to tell, though, to visitors here at PPMA 2022?
Well, we're an automation supplier. What we're trying to show here is how we can put those together as a package and really show the progress in motion and progress in control by showing them in a series of applications typical for the packaging process industry.
And addressing some of the challenges that many of the industry are facing as well, particularly with rising costs as well. But take us on the journey, if you will, and Rob on the camera there will try and follow us as best as he can. Where does this story start, Steve?
Really, perhaps is at the start of many processes where we're talking about batch handling. So this is a balancer package where we can provide a set of equipment, control equipment, for OEMs who are making their own balancing equipment. And we can, just with fingertip control, we can move around these very large masses. I can step in there if it's okay.
Yes, I recognise these weights from my garage. No, I don't have those weights in my garage. Oh wow, so that's really easy to lift.
So just really literally with fingertip control, we're able to use controlled pneumatics to counterbalance these changing masses.
So hang on, sorry, this is a really poor gag, but I can tell my wife that I lifted
100 kilos.
100 kilos this morning. Yep, fine. And that is a true story. Right, where does this story take us next?
So then really this was a dynamic example of controlled pneumatics. Yep. Here we're showing some of the equipment that you can actually use for that, for flow and pressure control, for metering out gases into where you're putting a header pressure over the top of perishable goods, this sort of thing. We really want to meter those as precise as we can these days. The costs have just shot up, and therefore you want to be really careful in the way you meter those out and control them.
Then we start to see that in application just here on this display.
Yeah, certainly. So dancing rollers is a typical example where you control the tension on a web. You have a web of material, whether it be polymer or paper, and you want to control that tension. Air is perfect for that because it's compliant, it has a bit of give in it, but we also want to have the control, and we're showing here examples of how we can use some really fine controlling these rollers, changing the angles, and yet maintaining a constant pressure on the feed there.
Really well put together displays, I have to say. Let's move down to the next line here. What are we looking at here, Steve?
So this is a completely automated line, but we're able to show how we can use batch size 1 type production. So flexible production, consumer types in exactly what they want, and it's made to order. And what we're doing here, we're just using a little small example of a USB stick, which can be personalized, and individual printed labels. The giveaway is just there as an example, but what we're really showing is how all this automation equipment can be connected through. You've got a very high level of control, and yet we can have very flexible production. And so customers put their details in here, it goes through 5 series of assembly, gets programmed up with some personal information and details and the information they want, and they can collect it later on from the end of the display.
How about we skip over towards the end there, where we can see at the end of the line some of these USB sticks that Steve spoke about there on the line.
So here at the end we have a large carousel, and we are holding them in this nest. Customer comes along with a QR code that was printed at the beginning of the process, puts it underneath the sensor, and it will download and bring the it will bring the sensor, bring the USB stick round and deliver it to them at the end. We're not making machines. What we're showing is some of the principles of flexible production here and how they can be applied to a lot of the machine manufacturers who are here today.
Indeed. Like I say, I think it's a great story, and you've really gone to a lot of effort to bring it to life here, you know, taking you through the stand and taking you through the journey. Talk to me about why it's so important for you to bring this coherent story to a show like PPMA and to the attendees here.
I think it's the big issues that address the manufacturers. It's not about individual components, it's not about the engineering topics. I think it's the things that really drive the customers at the end of the day. So it's the flexibility of production, speed of production, efficiency, effectiveness, all of those sort of buzzwords. But at the same time, it's really making sure that people can build machines faster, and they get reliability out of the machines, and they get the flexibility out of the machines.
Yeah. being able to connect stuff is generally a good idea. One of my favourite quotes, Steve Jobs, he knew a thing or two about technology. Creativity is just connecting things. And it seems to me that with the kind of platform that you're supporting here, you're enabling your customers to be as creative as they can be, as flexible as they can be.
And we try and visualise things as well. I mean, some of these subjects are quite dry, as you can imagine. We're talking about software, hardware, firmware, how we bring it together. We put quite a lot of effort in, as you said, to try and visualise things to make it easy and understandable.
Well, you've certainly done that, Steve. Brilliant, really, really good to chat to you. I hope your storytelling is every success over the next few days here. Cheers.
Take care.